is Taiwo Adewole. I'm an environmental consultant with special focus on waste management. So today I'm going to be talking to you about wastenomics. That is turning your waste liability into assets. We generate waste every day, but this waste we generate every day, people see it as a liability. But what I'm going to be talking to you today is about turning this liability into assets, turning it into money, and that is waste in general. Now, to start with, I'm going to be starting with introduction, and I'm going to be talking about what is waste. Municipal solid waste. Then we also look at different type of waste. We look at hospital waste, we look at hazardous waste, we also look at e-waste. Then we have some case study of practical examples where this has been done here in Lagos State, in Nigeria as a general. And like I said, in Nigeria, waste generation is either through household, domestic waste, from industry, and so on. And the more population you have, the more waste you generate. And on the average, each person generates around 0.5 kg of waste daily. And for instance, if you look at Lagos State generates around 13,000 tons of waste every single day. So you can imagine caring for 13,000 tons of waste every day. But I believe at the end of this talk, you're able to see what this waste can be converted to. We are talking about the 13,000 tons, which people see as a waste, which people see as a liability. But today, I believe at the end of this lecture, you'll be able to know that they are not a waste, but they are raw materials for some industry. And like I said, the more population you have, the more waste you generate. And once you generate more waste, then you need to start making provision for more collection system. Not only collection, you also look at the scientific processing. How do you start processing this waste? Since you generate more waste, you need to do the collection. After collecting, then how do you process? And for you to even process, you must have an infrastructure in place where all this solid waste comes to for disposal and processing. And after the processing, during the process, you start getting some information. What is the percentage of waste that can be recycled? What is the percentage of waste that can go into composting and so on? Now, the major wastes, for instance, is the municipal solid waste. These are waste that is generated every day from the household, and waste from construction. We have people that build houses every day, they generate a lot of waste. So we also look at waste from the street. But apart from the household, we have people that generate waste and just straight on the street. They also look at what they call the consumer markets. The more people buy goods, the more waste they generate. But by the time you buy your goods, these goods they come in plastics or they come in other packages. But immediately you take out your valuables, what you have are the waste, you have the carton, the nylon and so on, which is used in packaging this item. And this item are either biodegradable or non biodegradable. And in most cases, they are always a problem to the environment. Then also look at the composition of municipal solid waste. We've talked about municipal solid waste, that these are waste coming from the house or coming from the street. They also need to look at the breakdown. And in most cases, if you look at the breakdown of municipal solid waste, we have more of paper. We have the garden waste, we have the kitchen waste, we have organic waste, we even have scrap metals, we have nylon, wood, glass, and so on. But in most cases, the highest is always either the garden waste, the paperboard, or the plastics. Then sometimes you have more of glass, and you have more from packaging too. Then that is on municipal solid waste. Like I said earlier on, we also have hospital waste. These are special waste. These are kind of waste that doesn't even need to mix up with the municipal solid waste. These are waste that doesn't need to go to the landfill directly, because from the name, hospital waste, most of them might contain blood and other stuff. So they are treated separately, especially biologically. So this type of hospital waste doesn't go straight to the landfill. What it is that they send them to incineration, where they are burnt down completely, and in the process of burning them down, all the biological items there are being burned down completely, including blood and so on, before these waste are being sent to the landfill. Then also have that of hazardous waste. When we talk of hazardous waste, we are looking at toxic. These are waste that are toxic to human being, toxic to human, animal, and even plants. And mostly they are usually industrial waste. So when we talk of hazardous waste, they are mostly industrial waste, and this type of waste are not supposed to even get to the landfill without being treated. And lastly, we also have what you call the e-waste. Nowadays, we have a lot of electronics, you have your phone, you have your TV and so on. But once you finish using them, what happens to them? In most cases, they find their way to the landfill, where people send them on fire, or because they want to pick one item out of that. So these are other ways that need to be taken care carefully, separated, such as you have, like I said, you have your TV, your washing machine, your medical equipment, you have your dryer, your TV and co. These are categorized as e-waste. Now, I've talked about the different type of waste. Now, the next stage we need to look at is how do you treat this waste, or what innovation can we convert this waste? But like I told you, we are talking about turning liability into assets. And for you to turn liability into assets, you need to come up with innovations. You need to come up with wastewater. The kind of treatment. And we are going to be looking at the first thing we have to do is whether we have to prevent. How do you prevent or minimize generating this waste? Once you know you can't prevent or minimize generating the waste, then the next thing you need to look at is reuse. How can I reuse some of these items? Do I need to throw them away? No, you can't throw them away, you need to reuse them. Then we talk of recycling, which is a major part which I'm going to be focusing more on. We also talk of composting. Composting in most cases is for organic waste, food waste and market waste. Then those that cannot be reused, that cannot be recycled, that cannot be composed, will now end up in landfill, or otherwise known as dump sites. Now, when we talk of recycling, we also need to start talking about separating. But for you to start recycling, you must identify these waste and you must start separating them. Different waste, like your battery, your plastic, your nylon, your carton, your bottle, each item needs to be separated. And in most cases, it's either you use a color-coded bin for them. For instance, you can use blue. Anywhere you see blue bin, that's where paper is going to. Anywhere you see yellow, that's where you're putting your aluminum can. Anywhere you see black, this is where I'm putting my glass. And anywhere you see red, this is where I'm putting my plastics and so on. So it's either we use color-coded bin or using diagram on each of the bin to separate this item. Then we're in the process of preparing for recycling. And the first item I'll be talking about is on the pure water sachet. A lot of people drink pure water, they throw them away. You see them on the street, you see them blocking the drainage and so on. These pure water sachets are raw materials for industry, and a very good example is of Lagos State, whereby today we have like 2 or 3 companies that go from house to house, that go from even the pure water factory to pick up these items. Once they pick up these items, they take them to the recycling plants where they undergo processes. And what it is that once they get all these pure water nylon together, they wash them. Most of them contain sand, some contain oil and all sorts of dirt. So the first thing to do is wash this nylon. After washing the nylon, they dry them. Then after they dry, then they grind them. After grinding, they have what is called the pellets. So this pellets is now what is being used. This pellets is a raw materials for the industry where they produce roll of black nylon bag. So most of those black nylon bags you use in packing of this, or those black nylon bags you buy in the market for the packaging, they all come from pure water sachet that's been processed, that's been recycled. So that's for pure water. They also have the plastic bottles. Every day we drink water and our plastic bottles, we drink them, we throw them away. You buy your minerals, you drink and you throw them away. But these are another raw materials. After the pure water sachet, next is plastic bottles. These are raw materials that are being collected. Once these materials are collected, they are separated because we have different colors. We have the green, we have the brown, the blue, and the transparent one. So it has to be separated color by color. After the separation, you still need to undergo another processing. Remove the cover, remove the label to make sure the bottle does not contain any dirt. So after the separation, you have what you call the baling. You bale them together before you send them to the recycling plant. And when you get to the recycling plant, this is where another value chain takes place. At the recycling plant, these plastics are washed, and they have 2 types of washing. They have the cold wash and the hot wash. After being washed, they are being shredded into what is called flakes. After shredding to flakes, it's from the flakes now they produce fiber. So with this fiber, they produce a lot. For instance, Nike International, they produce that jersey, the international football jersey. With 7 pieces, they're able to produce those jerseys. And with the same fiber, they produce t-shirts. you can produce your mattress, you can produce your bed, you can produce your carpet, a lot of items just from these plastic bottles. And like I said earlier on, with the plastic bottles, you separate the cover. The cover alone is another raw material entirely. And for instance, the cover in most cases are always being grounded and converted into pellets. And with these pellets, they go into production of a lot of materials, your plastic chair, your plastic table, even the shoe you wear, the soap, is produced from this item. So you can see on the bottle alone, we have like 2 raw materials. And apart from bottle, like I said, they produce wood. Even your car, those foot mats in your car, the dashboard of the car so are produced from this plastic bottle. So you can see there's a lot of raw materials in that plastic bottles alone. Now I'm going to the third one, which is the aluminum can. Every day you drink your Coke, you drink your Fanta, you drink your energy drink and so on. You throw away the can. These cans are another raw materials for industries. And we have industry that get them every day. And once these items are picked, they are being converted to what is called aluminum ingots. So these aluminum ingots, production of your window frame, your door frame, your aluminum sheets, your spoon and so on, so many items that are related to aluminum are being produced daily from this aluminum can which you throw away on daily basis. Then I move to the fourth item, which is paper, carton, old newspaper and so on. Every day we donate this item, you throw them away. Every time you buy your TV, you buy a laptop, they come in cartons. Once you take your item, in most cases you dispose of the cartons. But these are another raw materials for industry. These are collected, but in most cases you need to take them, you need to prevent them from water. So once you are collecting the carton, you keep them under a secure place where water cannot touch them easily. They are being baled. Once they are being baled, they are being sent into the industry where they produce paper, newsprint and so on. Where they get this item, they convert them to produce other new cartons. For the newspaper, they produce tissue. While for the carton, they produce new carton. And in most cases, if you see under the carton, you always see the recycle sign under the carton, and you always see where it is written, please recycle. So it's from the same carton, they produce new carton. From the old newspaper, they produce tissue and so on. And now, I will also be talking about the private sector. Already, there are some people who are into this industry already. For instance, we have like recycle point, recycler, lots, 1, 2, 3 recycle, so many industry. But this is a lucrative industry that worth about $2 billion today, the waste industry. And you can see, for instance, in Lagos State today, a company has taken over usual waste management, and they spend a lot of money. They're investing around $138 million. So for a company to invest $138 million in the waste industry, they have seen the potentials. And their main target is just domestic waste alone, and their target is 4,000 tons of waste. Like I told you, the state generates 13,000 daily, and our focus is just on 4,000 tons out of the 13,000, which means you serve a lot for that industry. So these items, the strategies, one, you can get them from your environment. For instance, you can liaise with some university. Anytime they're having their convocation, anytime they're having their graduation, people will always drink water, people will always use any of these items, so you can get them en masse. Then also you go to the fast food event centers, you can get this item there every day. In most cases, you can even get them for free, but you don't have to pay for them, because to the school, to the restaurant, to the event center, they are waste. You finish your party, people throw them away. It's not left for you to liaise with them. Please, can I be picking this item, or can I come to an event center and clean for you free? But because there's a lot of awareness now, most people will tell you no. Now I'm aware of what you are doing with this, because I know you are not taking it for free. Then I now start negotiating with them to start, okay, how much are you going to pay for this item and so on. And I'm going to be talking about the prices. For instance, I talk about the pure water sachet. Now the prices for the pure water sachet, you can get them in kilo. At least you get between 18 to 20 naira per kilo for the pure water sachet. Once you're able to pick them and well arranged, make sure there's no water inside, that goes for around between 18 to 20 naira per kilo. Then when you talk about the plastic bottles, that goes between 28 to 30 naira per kilo for the plastic bottles. Then for your cartons, go between 5 naira to 6 naira per carton. For per ton also, everything has to be weighed per ton, your plastic in ton, which is 28 to 30 naira per ton, per kg. Then same thing with your pure water sachet, your carton. Then, and the most lucrative and the most expensive of them all is the aluminum can. The aluminum can is between 150 to 160 naira per kg for the aluminum can. So you can see that every single item I mentioned, they have value attached to them. So, and for you to turn this to a full business, then you have to start talking in terms of tons. Okay, maybe every week I can be doing 10 tons of plastics, 10 tons of paper, 10 tons of aluminum can and so on. They know this is lucrative, and to start the business, you don't really need much capital. All you needed is just an open space. The open space, you can keep your plastic bottles, you can keep your pure water nylon, you can keep your aluminum can, either the sun or the rain. It doesn't affect them, except for your papers, your carton, your old newspaper that has to be kept under a secure place, because water doesn't need to touch that. So that's why I said you don't need much capital. All you needed is just a space. And now for you to go further in the business, you need to have a proper bookkeeping. But for you to start any business, you must have the bookkeeping to keep records. Now, what do you need the record for? This is where the strategy comes in. Now, I want to take this as a full business time. I want to take it as a full business. So in this case, you need to have your record. How do I collect this item on a daily basis? Where do I collect them from? Who do I sell them to? Because another thing is for you to have the item, then another thing is the market. Even the recycled product, you must have a market. But if there's no market, then there's no way the business will move. So that's why you must have your proper bookkeeping. Where am I getting the item from? How much am I getting it? What processing do I need to go through? Who am I selling it to? At what price? Do I even want to go further? Because there are so many value chain. Is either you want to only do the collection, only collect, then sell, or you want to collect, process, and sell, or you want to collect, process, and convert to other items before you sell to the final recycler. So like I said, at different stages. But for a starter, I will advise start with collection and start with your strategy. The strategy, like I said earlier on, you need to look at volume drive. So you need to target event center, you need to target restaurants, you need to target even churches, because there are some churches that do convention, churches that do rally, that do convention and so on, that do harvest and so on. So these are places where you can go to and pick this item for free. Although it's not for free per se, because some might negotiate that, look, this item you are taking, we know you are taking it somewhere, but at the same time you also need to consider logistics. But the basic thing is logistics, the movement. How do you move the item from point A to point B? Because like I said, you must have a particular point where you keep and store them. So how do you move them? You need to look at your mode of transportation, the volume will determine, and if you are buying from other people, then you need to factor in the cost of transportation. It's either they deliver to you at a cost or you pick from them at a cost. But like I said, like the way we operate, we go from door to door, house to house to collect, and you give incentives. Because this is a new model, and if you ask people, oh please, I need you to separate your waste, the question they ask is, why must I separate my waste? Am I getting anything back in return? So you can introduce incentives, and maybe for every 200 glass bottles you give me, or for 100 pure water nylon you give me, or for every 500 carton you give me, I'm giving back maybe crates of egg or a carton of Indomie in return, or you even put a monetary value on it. But in doing the business, you must know the current market price so that you won't be operating at a loss. Because like I said, the prices vary on weekly or monthly basis. So, and that's why you need to keep a proper bookkeeping. And in the next 1 or 2 years, the government will be coming up with a lot of policy that will support household, companies, industry, estate to start separating their waste. And if you can start now, it's going to favor you and it's going to pay, because already you saw it coming and the government is working towards this. For instance, now in Kenya, they banned the use of nylon. Anything nylon at all has been banned completely in Kenya, and in Nigeria they are considering that too. But instead of banning it completely, experts are talking to the government, why not encourage recycling? So if you can start now and showcase that, look, you don't need to ban nylon in Nigeria, I can collect for the recycling industry, because we have the industry, the Indian, the Chinese and Lebanese that do the recycling on daily basis and they make millions. So if you can show that potential that, look, I have the power or this is what I'll be doing. I'll be collecting all this nylon from house to house and so on. So it's going to be favorable, and even by then the price must have gone up, and you must have your edge already, because people must have known you. Oh, you know this man, or you know this lady, she's always coming to collect our recyclable item. So you have more and you have more ground in the market, and by then when it is more competitive, you must have gone ahead already, because now, like I said, we are collecting for free, but by the time the government come up with policy, awareness will be there, everybody will be aware. It will be hard for people to give out this item for free, but the earlier the better. You can start now, and at the end of the day, you can even get corporate sponsorship from company. For instance, company that produces all these plastic bottles now, they've come together to form what they call the Food and Beverages Alliance, and their main aim is to make sure nationwide they look for people, they look for organizations that can go around and demonstrate to them that look, all our plastic bottles we can help you to collect, and the funding and finance will come from them. Once they're able to show that yes, I'm competent, maybe within Lagos State or in the southwest, I can help you in picking up a plastic item, the funding will come from them. So they have what they call the Food and Beverages Alliance that are coming together to give support to people, individuals that can showcase that yes, you can pick this item. So in conclusion, you are not only making money for yourself, you are creating employment opportunity, you are creating raw materials for industry, and finally you are keeping the environment clean. Because like I said, the plastic bottles, the nylon, they don't decay. The plastic bottles and nylon can remain on ground for the next 100 years without decaying. So that is why in most cases, anytime there's flooding, you go to the drainage, you see a lot of nylon and plastic blocking the drainage because they don't decay. So once they block the drainage, it leads to flooding, and from flooding a lot of disaster happen and a lot of diseases where mosquito breed and so on. So that I can see if you come in to start separating your waste, one, you are saving the environment, you are saving that waste from going to the drainages, you are making income for yourself, you are creating employment opportunity and raw material for industry. Thank you very much, and this is the end of my presentation, Term Wastenomics, turning waste liability to assets. Thank you very much.